Hello, year 10s. Bear with me while I get my PowerPoint ready. Who doesn't love a PowerPoint? So today I'm going to be speaking to you briefly about career guidance support and career support you're going to be receiving in the next few years, but mainly to introduce exciting new initiative um, called virtual interviews. But before I get onto that, and I want you to pay attention to this because this might be a question that will be asked of you in the virtual interview that you're going to have. Um, so I may have said to you before, what is a career? And I think that's a good starting point when we're thinking about career guidance and career support. Now, often people will say a job, but actually it's a lot more than this. It's your professional journey through life. So you've already started your careers. You've been in your careers since, I suppose, when your primary school was chosen for you. That was probably the start of your career. So it includes um, the education you choose, choosing to come to Surbiton, what languages you chose in year seven, your GCSEs that you chose, the A levels that you're going to choose coming up, degree choices, and eventually um, jobs. And you know, over the course of your life, your career may change significantly. So I used to work in television, and I used to work in security services in Colombia. I know this all sounds made up, but it's true. Um, and now I work in education, which is lovely because I get to be amused and stimulated by lots of wonderful young people every day. Um, so that is a career. It's your professional journey through life. Now, you must not feel daunted. You are very, 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 very lucky that you're at a school that is award winning for its career guidance. Yes, that was the ISI Independent Schools Inspectorate judged that one of only three schools out of 200 entrants to be highly commended. So you are very well looked after, seriously, in um, making these choices. And for the most part, these choices don't need to be made soon. Um, we help you make the decisions you need to make when you need to make them. And to be honest, many students leave Surbiton High not knowing what career they might want to go on to do, but what we have helped them do is pick the right subjects, the right A levels, the right degree for them. So whatever they decide that they want to do at university or thereafter, that they are well prepared for it. And what we want to do is encourage you to explore and support you when you need the help. So never be frightened to reach out to Careers Department, top floor of the sixth form. You can email us at careers@surbitonhigh.com. Now, you'll probably remember doing your Morrisby back in year seven, and we may have redone it again in year nine. That's because I'm a bit of a Morrisby obsessive because it's a fantastic resource. So just remember you've got that, and that's a tool that you will be coming back to in year 10, but a much fancier, fuller version. So in terms of the career support you're going to be getting over year 10, what probably the main thing you'll do is you will do a much fuller version of the Morrisby profile. And this time, in addition to the interest questionnaire you did before, you'll also be doing some psychometric assessments. So things like you did when you joined Surbiton, or the things a little bit like the Yellis tests, which are then used to make your profile a lot more meaningful and a lot more accurate. So things like verbal assessments, numerical, but they're not tests. There's no pass or fail. So you just do your best, and what it is what it is. Then in year 11, you'll have one-to-one careers interviews with the careers department, discuss things like A-level options and careers options. So you might meet with me, you might meet with Miss Lecky or Miss Parsons or another career advisor. And then the other big thing we do in year 11 after those interviews is you will have work experience at the end of year 11 after your GCSEs. And that's a really good way to test out um, maybe some of the career ideas that you've discussed in your career interviews. So if you're thinking about medicine, we will probably support you to get some relevant work experience, maybe at a hospital or something like that, to work out, is this for me? And then in year 12, sorry, it's more university focused, although we will help you if you don't want to go to university. And there's a specialist sort of guidance program to make sure you pick the absolute right university and degree for you. And then there's specialist support for the areas that need it. So things like Oxford and Cambridge, Oxbridge, medical school, art school, those sorts of things. So there's a lot of support. However, this year, excitingly, we're going to do something new. Yes. And I have to say, you're very special because year 10, yes, you are the first year group to do it. Every single year group's going to do it, and you're the first. Now, you could call yourselves guinea pigs. You're not guinea pigs, no. You are innovators. Yes. So you're going to have a one-to-one virtual interview with me. It will not be with me live because there are nearly 200 of you. And bear in mind, we're going to be doing these virtual interviews with every year group. Okay? So it's an interview that I've recorded, and you're going to be interviewed by me through some software. And then there's going to be follow-up by your tutors and the careers department over the course of the year. It's a 10 to 20 minute interview to do probably over half term. I'll come back to that in a moment. And it will give you a chance to talk about careers and subject ideas like A levels or degree ideas in the future in preparation for your year 11 live interviews with us, as in you will all get a live interview as well. Okay. But it's really good preparation for that, and it will get you thinking. So what will happen? A letter will be sent to you and your parents, and it will contain a link to the interview. And what will happen is I pop up like this, and I will ask you a question, like I'm doing now. So, for example, what is a career? And I've just told you some of the things you could say to that. And then you in this case is played by Miss Lecky, who looks after work experience and works in the careers department. You will then respond. So you'll have some thinking time, and then you will record a response. And you can re-record that response if you want to. Don't worry about what you say. Not for the most part, no one's going to be watching these. This is a self-reflection activity. So honestly, don't worry about it. Like, just try your best to answer something um, in the most sensible way possible. But don't worry too much if you don't have a clue. You're not being assessed. Then at the end of a question, there'll be a tick list of things that you could have said. Again, it's not exhaustive. There may be things that aren't that you said that are really relevant that we haven't thought of. Um, so, but it helps you start thinking about what are some of the things you could say in response to that question. So, for example, with this question I've already gone through, what is a career? It is your professional journey through life. It is not just jobs. It's also about your educational options. Your career may change a lot over your lifetime, etc., etc., etc. And you can tick off what you've mentioned, but it doesn't really matter what you tick off. It's just you've got some ideas there. Um, Now, then, what will happen? I've got to just come out of this briefly. Um, where is it? It's over there. Let me drag this over. And then what you're going to get actually is once you've completed the interview, you'll get a feedback email which will show your answers and also give you some feedback on things like your speech rate, how many filler words you use, the use of I versus we. We encourage people to use I rather than we because it shows what you've done, and the time you use for each question. Now, don't worry too much about this, but on the questions where you haven't been completely bamboozled, you might want to just look at your speech rate and the number of filler words you use, because that may also help you developing your communication skills. That's not the focus of this. In year 12, you do another version of this, which is more like an employment interview. And that's looking more at these sorts of things. But it's a nice bit of feedback, and it's a bit of fun. I hope you think it's fun. I think it's fun. Do you not think this is fun? I think it's terribly innovative. In fact, we are the first school country. We're not a country. We're the first school in the country to do this. Isn't that innovative? Always breaking boundaries at Surbiton, aren't we? So what will you need if you do it at home? You'll need a laptop, a desktop, or an iPad with a camera, and that's able to record your choice. It says, you can tell I've written this quickly. It's very busy. Oxbridge deadline this week, so it's very busy at the moment. Record your voice. That should read. You'll need Wi-Fi if you're doing it at home, and you'll need to click the link in the letter that you get and enter your email address. Then you'll be sent an email where you need to create your account, and then you'll be able to access the interview. Now, remember, you are not being assessed, and I mean that. You really are not being assessed. I mean, don't sit there and go blah blah blah. Have a go at answering the questions, but if you're really bamboozled, and one of the questions might be, "I want to, what kind of career ideas you have," and it's perfectly acceptable to go, "I have no idea." But if you are asked that, and little hint, you probably will be, you might want to maybe discuss your Moresby career suggestions. So maybe have a look at those in advance of doing the interview and whether they appeal to you or not. So it's fine to say I don't know. You don't need to prep for these questions. You're just doing it off the top of your head, and other than maybe looking at your Moresby briefly, and you will have thinking time for each question. We might, in the careers department, just to see how you've got on, watch a few of the videos, and later on, as I mentioned, your tutors will be following up through the year with some short discussions about your future. So they might have a look at them, but I would anticipate, given we're doing this with every year group, that most videos won't be watched, certainly not all of them. And it's more about your self-reflection. And then you're obviously getting that feedback from the system itself. Any problems, the career department will circulate after half term. Now, my plan had been to send this letter out tomorrow, as in Friday. I'm recording this on Wednesday, but on Friday. Unfortunately, there are some tech issues with the people who have to upload these videos of me asking you questions, so that might not happen. Hopefully, it will get out to you in half term. If not, you'll do it when you come back. It's 10 to 15 minutes, and it's fun. And interestingly, this is a technology that has been adapted for schools, but is actually originally used for companies. So companies are using this technology so that rather than inviting hundreds of people to live interview, they can use these virtual interviews, use far less resources because it's all pre-recorded by one person at their end, and then quickly go through the people who've applied to decide who they actually want to invite to interview. So you don't need to worry about that yet because you're a long way off going for real job interviews, certainly for your main career interviews. But that's wonderful practice for the future, and we'll get an opportunity to do a kind of more job interview type interview rather than this sort of virtual career interview later on. All right, thank you for listening, and I really hope you enjoy this. I think it's très exciting. I hope you agree. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, there we are.